drive around your city, you know that there are different neighborhoods, and you know that there are different resources and opportunities available in those neighborhoods. So just think of your average middle class or upper class neighborhood. Generally, there are attractive parks and well outfitted playgrounds and grocery stores with healthy fresh food and bookstores and libraries. So there are ample resources to support healthy child development in that type of a neighborhood. But if you go to a low-income neighborhood, those same resources are not available. And of course, the neighborhood supports the child and the family and offers experiences and opportunities. So we would expect different outcomes from children growing up in those two very different experiences. We are interested in understanding the variables that cause these disparities so early in a child's life. And to date, research has investigated variables within the child, variables within the child's family, and variables within the preschool environment that the child may attend. But we haven't yet looked at neighborhoods extensively in the field of early childhood research.
The Early Childhood Education Institute serves as the local program evaluation partner for two early childhood education programs here in Tulsa, CAP Tulsa and EduCare. So we have ongoing data collection that happens on each of those programs that is shaped by their program goals, as well as some partnerships that they have as well. We, over time, have been building and accumulating data sets about hundreds of children who go through those programs, and have been gathering that data, and we analyze it each year to provide them feedback to their programs. Using the two data sets together allows us to increase the number of children in our sample size, which lets us have additional statistical power to be able to detect effects. The biggest challenge is having common measures across both studies. Overall, each program partner is really kind of in the driver's seat. They're the ones that are letting us know what their priorities are and helping guide the selection of measurements that we're using to assess children's ongoing development. And so this was a chance where we really had an opportunity to pull from a common measure across both projects and be able to combine those data to explore these questions.
Executive function is a set of higher order thinking skill involving domain general cognitive regulatory process. It includes inhibitory control, attention shifting, which is cognitive flexibility, and working memory. Executive function predicts successful learning and performance in school, at work, in life. Research has found that individual and family characteristics and school environment are associated with the development of young children's executive function. However, little research has been done on how digital environment, such as neighborhood, is associated with young children's cognitive development. This is an important topic to provide equitable opportunity to all children.
So child development is a complex enterprise. So children live in families, in neighborhoods, in cities, in society, and we have multiple influences on child development. If you stick within one discipline, you tend to use certain tools and methods and techniques and think about variables that are the tried and true in your field. But by partnering with another discipline, in our case for this project, the Urban Design Studio, they bring deep understanding of the neighborhoods of Tulsa and just what resources are available in different neighborhoods. So it expands our thinking, and theoretically we understand that neighborhoods are important to young children's development. But in the early childhood research field, we really haven't used the tools that our urban design colleagues bring to the table. So it expands our understanding, it adds a different perspective, and together we are able to do work that neither of our research groups would have done alone.
We started with a process called geocoding. So ECEI have surveyed kids and their parents at the EduCares and CAP Tulsa locations. And so we had over 1,300 participants in that survey, and they gave us their addresses. So we matched their addresses to addresses on our geographic information system to see where they were located. And as you can imagine, they're distributed all over the city of Tulsa and the nearby communities as well. Tend to be clustered in poor areas of town because you have to meet certain income requirements to be part of those programs. And so with those participants located and all of their data located with them, that sort of is like the first tier of analysis. And then we want to also analyze the neighborhoods that they live in. And to do that, we're basically using census tract as the definition for that data. And we have 7 different types of census data that we're looking at, and 5 different types of NANDA data. And we are really particularly interested, at least from my perspective, in things like how does access to open space and parks affect the development of executive functioning kids? How about access to grocery stores, social services? How about the walkability and transit aspects of their neighborhood?
From the census tract, you can tell, is it a food desert? Does that child have good access to healthcare? Does that child have good access to social organizations? Is there, a lot of libraries, a lot of resources around that child for them to use? And theoretically, we're thinking that if there's more resources for that child to use in that specific census tract, and it's not a food desert, and there's less crime, or there's more resources for their development, then that will impact how they grow and they develop and how they do in school. We're using M+ as our program that we're analyzing within, and that allows us to cluster children, like I was mentioning before, within either classrooms or within neighborhoods. And that takes into account the amount of variability in the outcome that's due to that child either being in that classroom or in that neighborhood, right? So if you think about variability, some of this partitioned out into what's the effect the teacher is having on that child's academic outcomes, or what's the effect that the neighborhood is having on that child's academic outcomes.
Beyond that, I think this will be an important step, and we're really excited about the findings that will come from this study. But there will be a number of ways that we want to continue to build out this line of research. One is to definitely make sure that we extend beyond Tulsa. In smaller cities, in suburban areas, in rural areas, it will be an open question as to whether the neighborhood strengths that we identify through this project also function similarly for children growing up in different types of geographic areas. Another important way that we'll want to expand it is to consider additional aspects of the neighborhood or the geographic context that the child grows up in. So considering the green space that they have available to them, or the food availability that is available to them. All of these things, although it may be hard to conceptualize a direct alignment with academic or behavioral skills, there are some underlying pieces of evidence that would lead us to suspect that the development of children is kind of holistically supported by their environment.
ECI is looking for a federal level grant opportunities to expand this project. For example, Institute of Education Science, IES, provides research opportunity related to education policy. And National Science Foundation, NSF, also provide various opportunities for research regarding social, behavioral, and economic science.
Tulsa EduCare has spent lots of time thinking about what we do inside of our classrooms and how we interact directly with our parents to help them reach their goals and also meet their emergency needs. But I really like that this study is helping us look outside those specific aspects to see the bigger picture and think more holistically about everything that's going on. You know, children need really safe, nurturing, stable experiences. And so the extent to which they live in a neighborhood where they know their neighbors, you know, that they all feel safe and they get out and they know each other's names and they ask, how are you? The extent to which those neighbors don't change so often, right? And people aren't being evicted that live next to them. That makes them feel safer.
We hope to generate actionable information that can be shared with a variety of early childhood stakeholders that can help to use this information to make neighborhoods more equitable for young children, to give more children equal opportunities.